Yo, 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 what's good, Jabbaroonies? It is your boy BQ. This is the Negative BQ YouTube channel. You are now rocking with the lounge. This is your TNA Impact review from February 5th, 2025. I thought the show was solid. It was not spectacular, but it wasn't a bad show. I wouldn't even say it's in the middle of the package. It was solid. It was solid. They kind of kept the ball rolling on a few things. They're approaching things creatively a little bit differently. They're making some attempts to prevent spoilers from getting out there. So, all things that I can appreciate. But I thought it was solid. I thought the episode was very easy to digest. I got through it very quickly. When it was over and the end credits went across the screen and TNA legend Carlos Silva's name popped up, I was like, oh shit, the show was over. So I thought, I just thought it went by pretty quickly. There's some episodes to me that just drag and drag and drag. And I don't know, this one almost felt short. But it made, it was just the way they laid it out. So I thought the episode looked pretty good, sounded pretty good. They were in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They had a lot of squash matches on this episode, which was something different, but I think it's also something needed in wrestling. We got to see some guys get a little bit of momentum on screen because this is a company that 50-50 books. So we got to see that a little bit. So I was down for it. It was something different. But let's get into it one time for your mind. And there's only one way to kick it off. It is with Mackenzie Mitchell. Ding bong, ding dong, hit Stone Cold Aye. So we jumped right into the action. We had representing himself, Trey Miguel.
Is that Costanza over there?
And this was advertised that Trey Miguel was in action. And he takes on a fellow by the name of Adam Brooks.
Who?
Adam Brooks. And Adam Brooks got an entrance. He had a theme song. It sounded like everyone else's, but he had a theme song. And he was introduced second after Trey Miguel. Now, normally I'm not that dude who gets on here like the TNA fans. Oh, sign this guy. Every time there's a jobber on TV, sign him to TNA. Sign her to TNA. I'm not that dude. But I thought this guy had something. He even got a promo. They let him cut a promo and it sounded good. He has something. And this is a dead division. And maybe that's a controversial take. It's dead. Okay. Leon Slater's the champion. The number one contender is Eric Young. And then there's everybody else. I could be in the X division for all we know at this point. There is nothing going on in that division. And I tell you, we talk a lot about the period of time where there was the knockouts division. We had all these departures and they weren't prepared for the departures. You could argue that is the case for the X division now as well. They just don't have anybody in the division. So this is a dude that he stands out. Like he was not a jobber. He got offense in. This seemed like a tryout match. This did not seem like, hey, you live locally, come wrestle. I highly doubt he lives locally. I don't know what the Australian community is like in Albuquerque, but it seemed like someone they brought in. So we're gonna see if they use them later in the tapings at all. We might get some random X division number one contender 6-way, and they're just pulling, any warm body that they can. I mean, at this point, the hometown man's in the X division. You know what I'm saying? I guess you could argue you could throw Rich Swann in there, but the division is very, very dead. But there is opportunity. There's opportunity to get in there, and there's an opportunity to rebuild this division. It shouldn't be that difficult since everybody seems to wrestle that style now, and everybody is under like 5'8" in wrestling, so it shouldn't be that hard to build. But I was pretty impressed with the dude. Had a good look, So we'll see. We'll see if they keep him around. But he seems like someone other companies would want to get their hands on. I don't know if he's done work for other companies or not. Like I don't know if he's done MLW or anything like that. But he seems like someone other companies would want. So this looks like an opportunity for TNA to get out, ahead of the ball a little bit and pick someone up who could contribute to the division. Now, Trey Miguel wins the match. Big shocker there. And because there's always an angle, he was attacked after the bell by Stinks.
Help! He's got a boner!
And Arianna Grace was on commentary for this, which I think she sounds fine. Um, I'm actually glad that they're going this direction where she's trying to get back on Santino's good side. It's not necessarily obvious that she's going to turn on him again. I think there's a few directions that they could go with it. I think we'll get into that a little bit later, but this is the second week in a row that Stinks has done some dastardly shit, and Ariana Grace has been very upset by it. She is appearing to have like this 3-week heel turn and then come back to her senses, which I'm okay with that because it's just not as predictable as I'm turning on my dad and now I'm a heel going forward. They're throwing a wrinkle in it. That is Stinks's soundbite. I know that was once upon a time given to Casey Navarro, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. Or like Tom Hannafin, or not Tom Hannafin. I was gonna play a Tom Hannafin soundbite, but like Santana would say, "Keep it a buck with you." I thought Casey Navarro was gay. And I played that soundbite because it's from an episode of Beavis and Butthead where Beavis had to wrestle. He was on the mat with a wrestler, and he the Beavis and Butthead are obviously very homophobic. So that's why I did that. And it was not like a dig at Casey Navarro. I just thought he was. So I thought it was, just being silly or whatever. But now I gave that to Stanks because he looks like Beavis and he is engaged to Ariana Grace. So I would imagine he does have a boner 24/7. So after this, we had Queen of the second segment, Gia Miller.
Kill you.
And she does a quick interview with Indy Hartwell and the Kabuki Warriors. And Laying Lee is speaking in Chinese. Apparently, Zaya Brookside knows Chinese. I think it's just one of those I think it's kind of tongue-in-cheek humor that she always knows what she's saying. But Laying Lee cut her promo in Chinese. Zaya Brookside was going to interpret, but Indy Hartwell already knew what she was saying. And then Laying Lee spoke a little English. So they're forcing her to speak English. I can appreciate that. They are breaking the mold a little bit because it's historically in the United States very difficult to book a champion who does not either speak English or speak good English. I think Stephanie Vaquer is someone who has gotten over with the WWE audience, even though she struggles to speak English. And I don't know if she speaks English on TV or not. I've heard her interviews. She speaks enough, but I doubt she actually cuts the promos in English. But what do I know? Because I don't watch the show. But with Laying Lee, they're forcing her to do it. It's passable what she does, and I actually give them a lot of props for this because TNA 2 years ago would not have been able to book her as a champion worth a damn. So they're doing a pretty good job, and they add, they're able to add a little bit of again like tongue in cheek humor with it, and I think having Zaya Brookside by her side is very, very helpful. So after this, we get another. This one was a squash match. We had the Righteous.
The Righteous are reportedly signing with WWE.
They're taking on Tommy Two Scoops.
Who?
Tommy Two Scoops and TW3.
Who?
TW3. These guys have to be local residents of Albuquerque. There's no way they brought these guys in for anything other than to just come and lose, and that is exactly what they did versus the Wrongshus. Of course, they cut a promo afterwards. God knows what they were talking about. They are appearing to want to team with the Hardies rather than work against them. So here is the issue that we're going to run into with the Wrongshus, with the Righteous Brothers. Okay, this is the issue we're going to run into. As much as I think we all appreciate a storyline where we don't necessarily know where it's going, a storyline that is just different for the Hardys. It's not about them going out and being the Hardys and wrestling and having good matches. It's something different, all right? I think we can all appreciate that. But at the same time, if the righteous struggles to communicate their motivation to the audience, they're going to lose the audience. All right, so there has to be a fine line between them keeping us guessing and also kind of giving us an idea where they're going with it. It's a fine line, but I think if they just continue to speak in a way where no one knows what they're talking about, it's not gonna work. You know, it happened. It didn't happen on a large scale, but it happened to me with Bray Wyatt once upon a time. You know, he was obviously very over with the people for a very long time. So I'm not really comparing him. I'm just going through my own personal experience. But I remember he would just come out, cut these long promos. I had no clue where it was going, and then he would lose the feud, and then he would come out the next week, cut the long promo that was saying nothing, lose the feud, like rinse and repeat. So they have to be very careful with the wrong here that does not happen to them as well. But the Hardys cut a promo after in the back. I thought they sounded pretty good here because the Hardys are not the best promo in the world. I thought they sounded pretty good. They were interrupted, of course, by the system because someone always has to get interrupted, and the system beats them down. The system is also teasing becoming the next tag team champion. So I recently did a positive BQ show, and the point of what I was saying, and I can understand for a lot of people it's very muddy because there's just a lot going on in every single title picture. But there's multiple opponents for the first time in a very, very long time. Typically, it's the cookie cutter. I'm the champion. You're the opponent. We wrestle. We have our feud, and then we just move on to the next person. Now there's like multiple people gunning for all of these belts. Now it's the same general concept. You wrestle one person, move on to the next, but storyline wise, there's already someone waiting, you know? It's not like they had that the champion faces challenger, beats challenger, and then they do some boring number one contenders match. Like there's a lot going on here. So the Hardys, you're talking about the righteous, you're talking about the system. So they got multiple things going on there. Maybe the great hands, maybe they factor that into this as well. You look at the Knockouts title picture, Lang Lee. You've got Ash by Elegance in the mix. You've got Indy Hartwell in the mix. You've got Danny Luna in the mix. You have Elena Black in the mix. You have now Ariana Grande in the mix. World title. Santana's got, potentially Steve Macklin in the mix. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. He's got Nick Nemeth in the mix. Frankie Kazerian's in the mix. Eddie Edwards is in the mix. Like there's just so much. There's the dog. There's so much going on. And, again, you could say maybe it's confusing, but to me, it's something fresh because we just don't know who the next contender is going to be. We don't know who's going to be the champion. There's just so many ways that they can go. My big concern, because we're talking about TNA here, is that they're doing this so that by the time Rebellion rolls around, they can have a 6-way for the world title. They can have a 3-4-way for the Knockouts Championship, a triple threat for the Tag Team Championship. That is my concern. I hope that is not the direction they're going. I hope they're just, creatively trying to keep us guessing. So for that, I'll give them all the props in the world. But I'm telling you, if Rebellion rolls around and it is, everything's defended in a multi-person match, I'm going to be very disappointed with this company. And they don't care what I think. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a podcaster. I'm just a fan. But I'm speaking like me to you guys. I will be very, very disappointed because I'm pretty positive on what they're doing right now in 2026. I'm enjoying the shows. I'm not really tearing them down like I have in the past. I've been on board with what they're doing, but I will be highly, highly fucking disappointed if it goes into, lazy booking and just throw everyone on the card. I will be very, very fucking pissed off. So, the system jumps the Hardys. Hannafin sells it so that he can run down the card for the rest of the show. And then we got a quick camera angle of Frankie Kazerian backstage shaking hands with Daria Ray. So speaking of the self-proclaimed king of the block party.
It's a block party. I'm not playing with y'all, bro.
Frankie Kazerian comes out and he is saying that that Mike Santana defeated a one-armed man and that he had a meeting with Daria Ray And this is the first time Daria Ray's kind of integrated with the men, because she always kind of seems to be messing with the knockouts. Like, I think this is the first time she's actually kind of dealt with any of the dudes on the screen. And they came to some kind of agreement. I guess we're going to see what that is, but they're building a lot of things off screen. It looks like they are trying to very much protect their storylines so that the spoilers do not get out there. You know, things like the Feast of Fire briefcase going on backstage. No one is carrying briefcases with them to the ring. So the live audience doesn't know who has the briefcases. They don't know what's going on. The problem was they've done this in the past, and the live audience was very disconnected from the product that they were seeing in the ring, because they didn't know why people were wrestling, why people were feuding. They didn't understand the stories, you know? So I understand what they were trying to do. They are definitely trying to build everything backstage, which I think is good. I don't think everything should be built in the ring all the time. I think it has to be a balance between the two. But if you do everything backstage and then everyone's doing run-ins, you're just like, what the hell is even going on here? I mean, take the opening match, for example. Trey Miguel is wrestling. They know he won a briefcase, but they don't know what was in the briefcase, right? So, because I don't believe he came down with the briefcase. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Strike me dead, okay? I don't believe he came down with the briefcase. So the audience doesn't know what briefcase he has. They're going to assume it's the X Division because he was attacked by Stanks, you know. But the people really have no clue what the fuck is going on, and I think you could hear it a little bit in the audience here. But the audience also seemed like they were just going along with it. But we're going to run into a problem where we have the disconnect that we once did, and the crowd was dead when that was happening because they just didn't get it. But I can appreciate what they're trying to do. I just hope that they're able to find a balance. So I thought Frankie Kazerian, I thought it went a little long. He said Albuquerque started saying he's going to beat up the fans. He told one person, I'm going to beat up you and your dad. Like, it popped me. But I think it went a little bit long because we didn't really know the motivation. He just said he had a conversation with Daria Ray. So he's still going to be in the world title picture as well. After this, we had a pretty solid, if you ask me, mixed tag team match. We had on one side Elijah.
Nurture me, brother. We both.
This is the worst song I've ever heard.
And his tag team partner, Jada Stone.
I got into a different kind of entanglement.
An entanglement?
And their opponents representing the Order 4 were Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steelz.
Order!
And I thought they put on a very good show here. Now, I mean, a very good match. So I saw a lot of social media chatter about this prior to watching it. And I think the complaint was that Jada Stone got a lot of offense in on Mustafa Ali, and she did. I think they took it a little too far. But I got to say, Jada Stone got herself over in this match. They brought her on once upon a time as an enhancement talent. And you could see the athleticism. And, you know, the TNA fan base did what they always do. Someone comes out, does a job, and then they start tweeting, sign this person. And I will be honest with you, I didn't see it at the time. I thought she showed athleticism, but I thought it was like reckless athleticism as well. It didn't seem like she was wrestling controlled at all. It came across like she could hurt somebody. All right, like fucking Trinity, you know. And I don't think that she's ever hurt anybody, but she, to me, always had a really, really reckless style. I think Victoria Crawford has a really reckless style. She's not that athletic, but I think her style is very reckless. So maybe unfairly, I put Jada Stone in that category once upon a time. But also knowing that she was green. Now, she cut a promo last week. It was not good. I would imagine she probably knows that. But they put her in this tag team match here, and the crowd was into it. They're into what she's doing. I loved her entrance. The entrance was different than everybody else's. Like, the entrance is a big deal. You know, when you come out and you just do something different than everybody else. She had a great entrance. She got the crowd on her side. She frankly had him in the palm of her hand. Like, I really think she got herself over here. Now can we cut the promo? Like, that's going to, like, she's way behind the curve on that. Like, that I don't want to keep going to that, but it was not good last week. when she did the video package a couple months ago, I thought she sounded okay there. But they got a little something here, a little green. They got to, there's some little rough around the edges, but I was very impressed that they got her over. And who knows, maybe Ali called it in the ring. This is a pro we're talking about, and the crowd was into what she was doing. And he probably was like, "Hey, let's keep it going." Yeah, it went a little too far. She got a little too much offense in. She was wrestling 1-on-2 for a good portion of the match and carrying the match and winning. So I'm not as offended by it as most people, just because I love seeing people get over, and I really think she did that for herself, and I think she established herself as someone different than the other knockouts in the division. She was the one I was worried about. She was the one when she was signed. I was like, I don't know what they do with her. I don't know what direction they go with her. They found a great home for Mila Moore with Tessa Blanchard, but Jada Stone, I'm like, what are they gonna do with her? So I was very impressed with her here. I'm actually like looking forward to seeing her wrestle again. She showed off that she can do a lot of things that the other knockouts can't do, and that's going to take her far in the division, I think. She ultimately got pinned because Mustafa Ali hit her with the highway to Hades or whatever the hell it was called, but basically gave her the tombstone. So this match accomplished a lot. Like Ali got heat. Ali won the match. Jada Stone got herself over in defeat. I think this match accomplished a lot. Now, Mustafa Ali is 2-0 versus Elijah. So feud over, right? Because there's not even a rubber match at this point. Shout out Zaya Brookside. It's the feud over, correct? No, that's not what they're going to do. They're just going to keep going. I say this every single week. They're going to keep going until the good guy wins. So they're going to keep wrestling until Elijah wins, despite Ali being up 2-0. And it's probably going to be some kind of garbage match. I can very easily see that's where they're going to go with it. But we'll see. But man, I mean, at some point, these fucking these heels have to win these feuds. I swear. Because I mean, we're shit. I was talking about all these people in the title picture. We're assuming Ali is going to be in there at some point as well. Elijah might even be there at some point as well. So there's just a lot of very different options right now. After this, we have Santino.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
He is approached by Arianna Grace.
I'm sorry that people are so jealous of me, but I can't help it that I'm popular.
So she was saying she just got into a argument with Stanks, and she's on Santino's good side here. And Santino says, "Is there anything I can do?" He's like a little bit hesitant, but the story's working because we're getting minimal Santino on screen. He is not dominating the segments. He's not out getting himself over like he does. He's more of a serious character here. It's so, to me, it's working. I would like to see more of this from him. I could stomach him on screen a lot more if his character was like this. It's okay, a little humor here and there. He is a funny guy. It's just that the humor doesn't translate on TNA television. But he asked, is there anything I can do? And she said, you can give me a title shot, and then makes him feel bad because he missed her Sweet 16 doing an Australia tour. So he said, I'll make it happen. So that's where it leaves that. And then I think they went to a commercial because they came back and we had Daria Ray.
Diarrhea, cha-cha-cha. Diarrhea, cha-cha-cha.
And she's running down the card for the next TNA Plus show. I don't know what it is. I'm like the worst podcaster on the planet. I think the show's even this weekend. I have no clue what the show is even called. But she runs down the card, but she's letting us know Trey Miguel is going to take on Stax for the TNA International Championship. We're going to get a tag team match between the Hardies and the Ronchus versus the System. So they're throwing that together very, very quickly. We're getting Leon Slater and Mike Santana versus Nick Nemeth and Eddie Edwards. she even threw in there, don't forget Leon Slater can use option C. I don't expect him to use option C, but again, that's someone else in the mix for the world title. So there's just a lot of possibilities, lots of options. And then not Santana, but Santino walks up, says there's one more match that Lady Lee will be taking on Arianna Grace. And she's talking about nepotism. I know people are very worried Arianna Grace is going to win this title. And then I've seen people say she's obviously not going to win the title. I think she's going to win the title. And I had a lot of very wrong predictions. We are expecting, and maybe it's my fault because I've pushed this down your throat. We are expecting Styx to lose the title to Santino. I'm starting to believe there is a possibility that Santino actually turns heel and joins up with them. There's a possibility Santino helps her win the belt. Now, it will not be very popular with the TNA audience, I would imagine, especially another NXT person holding the title, especially another NXT girl holding the Knockouts title. She would be the third one. But I think you have to prepare yourself for the possibility of that happening. And then she asked, she noticed in the back, she goes, what's he doing here? What's Macklin doing here? She sees Steve Macklin in the back.
Then you just fire.
And he is talking to Rich Swann, the hometown man, and Trey Miguel. He's saying his goodbyes. And then he comes up and he cuts a really, really passionate goodbye promo. Now, again, this happened behind the scenes. The people in the audience have no clue what's going on. They don't know who was fired. They have no idea. It's all happening behind the scenes. How this played out was not something that was spoiled to the audience. Like, everyone saw this in real time. I kind of wish that I did. I do myself a disservice because I watched the show like 3 days later. But I kind of wish I saw it in real time. But he cut a real excellent goodbye promo. I love this place. And then waiting for him off to the side is Mike Santana.
Yo soy tu papá.
And he is, he gives them a little bit of a speech saying, they stuck together through. Oh, no. I wrote this in my notes. Steve Macklin actually said, they should have just reshot this, but he said, we stuck together through thin and thin, and that we overcame every damn thin. I'm like, yo, this guy loves the word thin. Once it happened a second time, it's like, let's reshoot the angle, guy. But anyway, Santana's waiting, and Santana says, you're the first person to welcome me back. Gives him a whole spiel. Thank you for being selfless. And then when he walks away, Steve Macklin attacks him. We get the heel turn, which we don't know where it's going because he's been fired. Obviously, it's a fucking work. Don't ever do this feast or fire briefcase again. I understand this is something you have to do the next week because he's saying his goodbyes. That is how the angle works, but don't do this fucking gimmick again. Unless you're really firing someone or someone's contract is really up, do not do this again. TNA, like, what are you doing? But it's fine because everyone wants Steve Macklin to be around. We don't want to see him fired. We don't want to see him end up somewhere else. So I think we're cool with this. We know that it's going to that is going to go somewhere. But he attacks him, and then fake security comes up, and they break it up. And I appreciated that Mike Santana took the beat down like a man. He didn't. We see these beatdowns backstage. You hit the garage, and then you're lay on the ground like you're dead. He just kind of shook it off because he's a badass, right? He just kind of shook it off, and we got to see his emotion from it. Oftentimes we see backstage someone gets hit with a clothesline and then they're down, knocked out cold. Like, Mike Santana's not going to do that phony horse shit. We get back to the ring and we have another squash match. We have Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, I don't like this. That if the Nuggets don't win this.
She's got Victoria Crawford and Mila Moore with her. There was no Jobber Stone. I was very excited about this because it means I can watch a Tessa Blanchard match finally. I am hoping and praying because he's the interim over at NXT that they are going to keep him since Ava, left out of nowhere. I hope Jobbert Stone, excuse me. I'm not going to call him Robert. I hope he stays there permanently. There's no reason to fly him back and forth for both of these. He does nothing for the TNA product. Like, get him off TV, keep him on NXT. So I was really happy to see that he was not a part of what they were doing. But yeah, Tessa Blanchard went on one-on-one with Rachel Ray.
Doesn't even go here.
I know it's not Rachel Ray, it's Rachel Lay. And the first thing I said, okay, here's the latest jobber that the TNA fans say sign. I went to her Twitter, and sure enough, she's reposting the TNA fans sign Rachel Lay to TNA. But let me tell you something. Rachel Lay has a good look. She's hot, which is always over with BQ. Her ring gear looks professional. It stood out. And if you go to her Twitter, her X account, and if you look at her pinned tweet, and it's showing, some of her clips, the Mike Gilbert special for all indie wrestlers, pinned tweet of your highlights, she's got some really interesting offense. So I started like going down a rabbit hole of kind of watching her. And man, there's something there. Tessa Blanchard actually even tweeted out, "You'd be a great knockout." So that was a great heel move by Tessa Blanchard. But she did tweet that out. There's something there. That girl's got something. Maybe this is blasphemous. I don't know. I think it's a very like Tiffany Stratton style of athleticism. But someone said, you know what? As a matter of fact, now that I say that, I believe someone on her X account, because she retweeted it, said she was a cross between Fallon Henley and Tiffany Stratton. I think they said something like that. And she actually agreed. So check her offense out. She has something. She has a promo on there as well, where how she got into wrestling. And I guess she was just one of those athletic people that WWE contacted once upon a time. You remember they were, they weren't scouting the indies. They were picking up all these people with athletic backgrounds, as a cheerleader, as a gymnast, as a football player, those type of people with no real connection to pro wrestling. And then it seemed like something she kind of fell in love with. But there's something there with her, man. Just like seriously, go to her X account and see what she can do. So I enjoyed it. Obviously, Tessa Blanchard wins. Rachel Lay missed a moonsault that clearly would not have hit anybody because she didn't get any height on it. I guess she got height, but she didn't get any distance on it. That just goes back to being green. But man, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be that dude that gets on Twitter like sign the jobbers, but like we're 2 for 3 here. Obviously, Tommy Two Tits and whoever else was wrestling should not be on TNA's radar. But as far as Adam Brooks and then Rachel Lay here, like man, they were pretty impressive. Those are talents you get out ahead of. Then it was the fake BioFlex injury report.
You have 24 hours to live.
24 hours?
Well, 22. I'm sorry I kept you waiting so long.
So Hannafin is letting us know that Rich Swann and AJ Francis are cleared. Nobody asked. Jada Stone is being examined by the phony BioFlex team because she took the tombstone. I understand she took a tombstone from a dude, and a tombstone is a devastating move as a pile driver is in general, but she's a pro wrestler and she took a pro wrestling move. So I don't think it is that necessary to have to evaluate that said person. It was like several weeks ago when like 3 or 4 knockouts took Danny Luna's finisher. And then they were on the BioFlex injury report being evaluated. I'm like, it was a fucking wrestling move, please. And they let us know, and this was a good thing, but they let us know that Ash by Elegance is officially clear. I was looking for Mara Sade to be on here because she took the clothesline last week from Ryan Nemeth. But if she was on the report, then they couldn't have done the following segment. Mara Sade.
Jacksonville, the community. Duval.
And Ryan Nemeth.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Now, this was something that crossed my mind last week. I didn't say it out loud when I was just talking about the exchange between Ryan and Mara. And I said, I could kind of see them doing, because Ryan was saying, I'm so much better, all these different, better than you at all these different things. So I was like, I can see them doing like competitions. I don't think I said it, but I was thinking it last week. I could see them doing that. And that's exactly what they did. So, Mara Sade, Bioflex legend, is no selling the clothesline, like she no sold Agent Zero's clothesline. And they are doing a series of events, and they're getting along perfectly fine. They're hanging out like they are buddies, even though Ryan Nemeth attacked her last week and showed a little bit of a mean side. But they started off playing football. Mara Sade clearly does not know how to throw a football. Poor form. She was in poor form, but she pulled a Mr. Perfect. Threw the football, ran and caught it, also in poor form, and Ryan Nemeth's arm was too hurt. I don't know what the point of this was, to see who could throw the ball the furthest. I don't know what the point. Then they were playing darts. So they used to call him Bullseye Nemeth. He threw a bullseye, and then she threw a dart at him. And then they were playing horse, and she beat him at that. And of course, the editing was very friendly. They're very friendly to these competitions. And I didn't know that was a rule in horse. BQ's over with the game of horse. All right. I didn't know that you had to win on a trick shot at the end, or maybe that's just a rule you can throw in there. I've never heard that before. Maybe I'm just completely lost. But she made a shot. I said no, it has to be a trick shot, and then she super kicks him, and then he throws the ball backwards, and it goes through the net. Again, very friendly editing. But with that being said, they had to have shot that many times, because he at least had to throw the ball in the ballpark of going through the hoop. You know what I'm saying? So he probably had to catch quite a few kicks for that to happen. But I mean, I guess the whole segment was pointless. It was also pretty bad. But it was, not pointless. It was harmless. It wasn't very good, but it was harmless. And they're going to wrestle a garbage match next week, because it's TNA and Tommy Dreamer is booking this shit. And we haven't had a garbage match in 2 weeks. So, we were due one, right? Personal concierge in the ring.
That's my dad. But don't worry, he's cool.
Really? He doesn't look cool.
And we're getting what's essentially the main event of this show. They're not billing it as the main event, but we do have the Elegance brand.
Come on, Teddy. Come on, Teddy.
Along with Mr. Elegance.
Why are you gay?
And they are taking on the team of future Knockouts world champion, Indy Hartwell.
How long did it take you to learn English once you got here?
It was really easy, because we speak English in Australia, you fucking idiot.
Queen of the rubber match, Zaya Brookside. And the TNA Knockouts world champion,
From Ching Chong, China,
Lang Lee. So I really wanted to like this match. If I could have got Heather and M versus Zaya Brookside in a handicap fucking scissors match, like, I would have been good to go. As much as I like the Elegance brand presentation, I think it gets kind of silly when Ash is involved. I don't particularly think Lang Lee is that good. She's okay. And then Indy Hartwell is obviously not great. She's okay. She's serviceable. But I thought there was just too many combinations in the ring here that didn't work. Like, you never want Ash by Elegance versus Indy Hartwell. You know what I mean? I know they're obviously going to get to that at one point, because they were trying to do that match. That's not a match you want. There was really only 3 girls who could really wrestle in this match. 4, we can say 4. But I wanted to like this match. I didn't love it. I thought it was a little bit long. So Zaya Brookside's theme. So she comes out after Lang Lee, all right, because the music makes more sense. They did it once upon a time where they played Zaya Brookside's music first, who has the best theme in the company, and then they played Lang Lee's afterwards, and it just kind of sucked the life out of the building. It didn't come off well. So they have Lang Lee come out first, and then Zaya Brookside's theme, and which obviously gets the crowd going, and she gets the crowd going. So they're coming out and they're playing the music for a while. Like this thing is like on loop. And it pans to Mr. Elegance, and he's just sitting there like posing to the music and dancing. And this is like the second, third week in a row, completely disconnected to what's actually happening, what we see on the screen. I have a prediction. I think by Slammiversary, he's going to be out of this group. Now, I know that they signed him. That doesn't mean anything. They sign people to 3-month contracts. But if there's anything on the show right now that is not hitting, it is that. So, and I've been saying I wanted to kind of give it time, but that shit is not hitting, man. I think when they put it together, I don't think they were expecting Ash to be part of the group again. But now there's just too much going on, and he's just like doing his own thing. He is so disconnected from, and that was a problem with the Elegance brand in general. I brought that up before. I was like, I felt like they were three girls on 3 separate islands. I always said the personal concierge would cut these promos behind the screens and behind the scenes, backstage somewhere, and you would just see the 3 of them and their facial expressions and what they were doing. It was like they were just all doing their own thing. There was no synergy whatsoever. And again, this is like, I love this group. I've been saying they're the best part of the show. They're no longer the best part of the show, even though I'm still an Elegance guy. Okay, they're no longer the best part of the show. Like this has come to a halt. This has come to a screeching halt. I'm glad Ash is back, but when it was the 2, when it was Heather and M and the personal concierge, that shit was fire. It is taking several steps backwards right now. Again, I'm very glad Ash is back. It's taking steps backwards though. It's just when she's involved, there's too much bad comedy, and it hurts their progress because they were growing a lot without her. Anyway, as I said, the match was a little long in my opinion. I expected the Elegance brand to win here. But no, they lost. Xia Brookside got the win, pinning Heather by Elegance after the personal concierge accidentally threw glitter at Mr. Elegance, who again just sold it really, really odd. But yeah, she pins Heather by Elegance, and she's very happy. She's like, "We won." I think Xia Brookside, man, her personality is so good. It is so fucking genuine, and it just like pops through the screen. That's why I just always been so high on her, and I know people see her as just this like little fragile chick who can't do a whole lot and will never be champion. Like I just see her through a completely different lens. I don't know. Yeah, man, I just want to see her, Heather, and M just wrestle. Just the 3 of them every week. Just wrestle. M by Elegance popped me though at the beginning when she tried to do a like karate kick to Lang Lee, and the way that Lang Lee caught it. Like that, I thought that came off kind of funny. Super racist. Like they're doing the oh you just fire. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. They quickly showed us that Dango is the next episode of Immersed. So that stood out like a fucking green hat with an orange bill, showing the Dango segment with the System all baby faces after they just turned a couple weeks ago. And then we just had this big fucking shit show at the end where Mike Santana comes out. He cuts a promo, and he did a good job of saying something about my friends jumping me in the back like a little bitch. The crowd didn't know what he was talking about. They popped because they were just going along with it, but they didn't know what he was talking about because it happened backstage with Steve Macklin. They did a very good job of making it seem like he was talking about the system, because then the system came out and attacked him. And again, does the audience know that Eddie Edwards has the briefcase? Dude, that's fucking crazy work having Eddie Edwards win the briefcase. He is in the worst shape of his career, and you can say that every single week because he just keeps getting in worse shape. And now they're like, hey, let's have him wrestle for the world title. Like even Sami Callihan's looking at him like, who the fuck is this guy? But anyway, and it was just this big brawl, and then the Hardies come out because they got to play the Hardies music to pop the people. I mean, that shit just so bothers me so much. Let's just play the music. Let's find this whole segment was an excuse to play Mike Santana's music, to play the Hardies music, and to ultimately play Moose's music, who came back and attacked the system. Which, you know, it's real intricate because they know Moose has it out for the system, but the people in the audience don't know the stories going on necessarily. So, but yeah, I thought the last segment was just real TNA. It was just, let's get a bunch of people out here, let's play their music, let's pop the people, let's send them home happy, you know, kind of fucking horse shit. But yeah, overall, like I said, I thought the episode was solid. They only had one real match on here, but two of the squash matches were, you know, you saw some people where you're like, oh, I can see them in this company. So we'll see if that's what happens or not. But that's going to do it for me this week, folks. I am your boy BQ, and I am out. Peace. Said peace.